Hello, folks. Welcome back to our legislative update from Helena. I'm here with Carly. We're going to take a turn. There's her hand. Yes. We're going to take turns giving you some updates on what's going on in the legislature this week from an ag perspective. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know if you have questions in the comments, and we will do our best to respond to them. So it won't come as a surprise, but we are getting close to a lot of legislative deadlines. We're getting closer to the end of the session. In fact, I think today is day 66 or 67. And as you know, they have 90 working days to complete their work. So things are getting very fast, and we've had a really big week here. We're starting to see a lot of appointments and confirmations as well. So we'll start by talking about them. This morning, I had the privilege to be able to support Director Beatty in his role as Director of the Department of Revenue. Those have to be reconfirmed every session now, but he has served already as director. And as you all know, out in the country, he's done a fantastic job. This agency really works for the people of Montana, and he's done a great job as a leader. And then also, of course, with him being a rancher himself, he's been a great person to work with on a lot of the hot button agriculture issues that have come up in the tax world in the last few years. So we were honored to be able to support him, and it sounds like they've already passed out his nomination, and it will be going on to the floor for full confirmation by the Senate very soon. Speaking of that, we had several appointments to committees that were heard last week that we supported, and those were all confirmed on the floor this week. That was Eric Moore for the Board of Livestock. There were 3 nominees to the Veterinary Board. There were 2 nominees, or confirmations, I should say, for the Hale Board, Vince Matson and Bing von Bergen. And there was also a confirmation for John Samsel for the Livestock Loss Board. So all very important boards for us. Many of these folks are members. Many of them have served already in these roles and have done a great job. We supported those, and we're pleased to see those meet their full confirmation 50-0 on the Senate floor. So it was a good week for confirmations for us. We know we're going to start seeing more of those next week as well. So stay tuned for those updates. We also, I would say, this was a big week for water. We saw the final version, I guess I'll say, of Senate Bill 358, which was the exempt well bill. It was passed out of the Senate Natural Resources Committee last Friday. It was amended fairly significantly in that hearing. Unfortunately, they did not put on the amendments that Montana Farm Bureau had requested. I do appreciate Senator Cuff for bringing our amendment and putting it forward, and for the folks that did vote for it, but unfortunately it did not go on. There were some good amendments added, some things that reduced flow in the yellow areas or the monitoring areas, but there was one that provided WIPIC oversight, which is another good addition. But unfortunately, there were some other amendments added that actually made it worse. First off, one amendment allowed and actually required the department to use aerial surveillance to look for inappropriate water use and then conduct enforcement actions. We have very specific policy opposing aerial surveillance for regulatory actions. That's a violation of our privacy. Our privacy is protected by law and by the Constitution in Montana. There was another amendment added that actually changed how the petition process worked. The petition process is a really important component of this bill because it has to do with if an area where the citizens see that there has been depletion to their water source and where they are asking for a closure, whatever type that may be, either full closure or monitoring, that you have to meet certain percentages for that. And there was the language did read water right holders, which was good, but it needed some more fleshing out. We thought that folks like Shareholders on ditches should be able to vote as well because they are being impacted. Otherwise, you're going to have an instance where one irrigation project only gets one vote and where there may be multiple users on there. Unfortunately, the language was just simply changed to water user, which would indicate that anyone who ever crossed through that area and drank water or simply existed could probably be counted, and that would make it nearly impossible to ever have a successful petition. They also removed one of the red areas and put it into yellow, really calling into question the scientific basis of the bill itself. So it came out on the second reading on the Senate floor, and we opposed the bill along with many others, and it did go down. So despite our efforts to try to make that a better bill, unfortunately, it did not come out that way. And so we were forced into a position of opposition, and we were able to stop that and protect Montana's property rights. So that was a good deal. Also in the water world, there was another bill, House Bill 886. This was the Divisional Court Water Bill, one we supported, also came out of the Comprehensive Water Review. It had a very good hearing early this week. Unfortunately, it was tabled in the committee. We worked really hard to get it blasted out onto the floor, which was successful, but then they went ahead and took their second reading vote on it yesterday, and it failed on a 50-50 vote. So we're disappointed there. I guess you win some, you lose some, but we'll be continuing to look for a long-term solution to give water right holders a court system that can adequately protect your water rights going forward. So a big week for water. Expect me to talk a lot about taxes next week, and I've talked way too long already, so I'm going to turn it over to Carly, who's got some more updates for you on a different subject.
Hello. Yes, let's talk a little bit about wildlife. So this week we were actually able to support a great bill from Speaker Brandon Lear, House Bill 648. It had a few technical issues on the House side, and we were able to work with them to get those corrected. And what this bill now requires Fish, Wildlife, and Parks to do is if they're going to move a large predator, which includes bears, wolves, or mountain lions, it requires them to notify county commissioners, the sheriff's office, and tribal governments within 24 hours of when those predators are released. So we were happy to be able to support that bill and see that continue on in the process, and happy to see it be able to improve in functionality. We're also working on some amendments on a block management bill, and we'll see how that progresses. And again, I just want to end by saying thank you to all of you who reached out to your senators in regard to 358 and 886. Lots of times it's hard for folks to understand that when we say we represent the largest agricultural organization in the state, what that really means. And when they hear from you, they know. And we are so grateful for all of your support on that and helping to continue to give our organization credibility and help them to understand where agriculture truly stands on those issues. So thank you for that. And we'll keep working up here next week to see where that heads. Oh, there was one other update. The cattle committee. I almost forgot. That bill failed in Senate Agriculture this week. So it's unlikely that will have a path forward. Something that we'll continue to work on to make sure that we can find an adequate solution for that. I think that it's a concept. People like the idea, and our membership likes the idea. It maybe needs a little more work on fleshing out all those details. So we'll be happy to continue to work on that and provide the opportunity for producers to be able to vote on whether or not a referendum is of value to them. So that's all for now, folks.
Thanks for tuning in.
How do you end this thing?